Every year, during a certain time of the year, a lot of attention and time is focused on setting up a green tree in a home and presenting gifts underneath it. All of this is done out of religious tradition that has been handed down throughout the generations. Today, it is often done as a means to remember the sending of our Messiah by our Father. In remembering the teachings of that same Messiah, we also remember that he taught us that traditions can be tricky, that some traditions can actually nullify the Word of God. It is in these circumstances that he reserves some of his harshest words. For example, Mark chapter 7. Now when the Pharisees gathered to him with some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem, they saw that some of his disciples ate with hands that were defiled, that is, unwashed. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands properly, holding to the tradition of the elders. And when they came from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. And there are many other traditions that they observe, such as the washing of cups and pots and copper vessels and dining couches. And the Pharisees and the scribes asked him, "Why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with defiled hands?" And he said to them, "Well did Isaiah prophesy of you hypocrites, as it is written, 'This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. You leave the commandment of God and hold to the tradition of men.' And he said to them, 'You have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to establish your tradition. For Moses said, Honor your father and your mother, and whoever reviles his father or mother must surely die. But you say, if a man tells his father or mother, Whatever you would have gained from me is Corban, that is, given to God, then you no longer permit him to do anything for his father or mother, thus making void the word of God by your tradition that you have handed down, and many such things you do." Our Messiah was not just making this up, but there are traditions that are compatible with the Word of God and traditions that are not. Deuteronomy chapter 12. "Be careful not to be ensnared by inquiring about their gods, saying, 'How do these nations serve their gods? We will do the same.' You must not worship Yahweh your God in their way, because in worshiping their gods, they do all kinds of detestable things Yahweh hates." Now we will take what our Messiah and the Word of God just taught us and test whether the tradition of bringing a green tree is acceptable to our Creator. We will do this by examining the context and tradition surrounding the green tree in the Scriptures. What you will notice in some of these passages is that they put sacrifices and offerings, or in other words, gifts, under the green trees and bowed down. Deuteronomy chapter 12. "You shall surely destroy all the places where the nations whom you shall dispossess serve their gods on the high mountains and on the hills and under every green tree." 1 Kings chapter 14. "For they also built for themselves high places and land pillars and Asherim on every high hill and under every green tree." 2 Kings 16. "And he sacrificed and made offerings on the high places and on the hills and under every green tree." 2 Kings 17. "They set up for themselves pillars and Asherim on every high hill and under every green tree." 2 Chronicles chapter 28. "And he sacrificed and made offerings on the high places and on the hills and under every green tree." Isaiah 57. "Inflaming yourselves with idols under every green tree, slaying the children in the valleys under the cliffs of the rocks." Jeremiah chapter 2. "For long ago I broke your yoke and burst your bonds, but you said, I will not serve. Yes, on every high hill and under every green tree you bowed down like a whore." Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 6. "Yahweh said to me in the days of King Josiah, Have you seen what she did? That faithless one, Israel, how she went up on every high hill and under every green tree, and there played the whore." And verse 13. "Only acknowledge your guilt, that you rebelled against Yahweh your God, and scattered your favors among foreigners under every green tree, and that you have not obeyed my voice, declares Yahweh." Ezekiel chapter 6. "And you shall know that I am Yahweh, when their slain lie among their idols, around their altars, on every high hill, on the mountaintops, under every green tree, and under every leafy oak, wherever they offered pleasing aroma to all their idols." Perhaps the green tree is not something we would want to bring into our homes. You likely noticed that in some of these passages they put sacrifices and offerings, or in other words, gifts, under the green trees and then bowed down. Most don't realize it, but when one places gifts under the green tree, one has to prostrate or bow down under the tree to obtain those same gifts. Clearly, it is likely that no one is intentionally bowing down to a tree, but their tradition inadvertently brings that effect, in the same way that the pagans would worship their gods. What it comes down to is this: we should not want to worship God in the same way that the pagans worship their gods. We should care what God asks us to not do. We all have to deal with this accordingly. We have to ask ourselves, do we want to follow the whole Word of God, or just follow the traditions that are against the Word of God? We hope that this teaching has blessed you. And remember, continue to test everything. Shalom.